Hello to you. Well, it's Picken, time for your weekly wealth insight. And to all you fellow wealth hackers, you can see I'm wearing my winter wealth hacker shirt. It's a beautiful sunny day here, although a cold winter's morning. What is this weekly wealth insight about? Well, it's about framing, it's about perspective, and it's about language. So what do I mean by that? So I work with a high performance coach. I'm a big believer in coaching. You know, at the end of the day, the most successful people in the world, the most successful teams in the world, they all have coaches. So therefore, why would we not want to have a coach as individuals? And I'll give you a good example of that. So yesterday I was talking with my coach and I was talking about, I was basically in victim mode. I was complaining about a bunch of stuff, and I was also talking about from a languaging perspective, how I've got all these hard things I need to deal with, all these hard decisions I need to make, all these hard conversations I need to have. And said, Scott, language has a lot of meaning. Language ultimately determines, your reality. And she said, what about if you used a different frame? What about if you used a different perspective? So I'll give you a good example of this. She said, well, you want to build quality relationships, and quality relationships are built by having authentic conversations. And so what is a different way of talking about it where it's not a hard conversation anymore? It's what's another perspective? I said, well, maybe it's a growth conversation, because if I want to grow as an individual and I want to grow to have quality relationships, then I've got to have better authentic communication, and that involves difficult conversations. But why not change them from hard or difficult into growth conversations so that I am growing as an individual? And I was like, wow, that's an amazing perspective, And equally, you can be a victim or you can be a creator. Like, we're the creator of our reality, and ultimately we can be a victim to the world and to the economics and the political and society, or we can be, a creator of our own reality, of our own lives. And so it was really interesting, because I know all this stuff before, but often you need to be reminded of it just to, really kind of get perspective. And so I made a commitment to myself, on my language, my perspective and my framework, to really focus on what's important and to make sure that I'm focusing on the outcome that I want. And, I teach a lot to our masterminders around how important outcome is, because outcome's everything, and again, it reminds me of a conversation I had just yesterday with one of our mastermind participants where, you've got the away state and the toward state. And the away state is where you're fearful and inability to act and tired and complaining and, all the negative emotions. And the toward state is where you've got something exciting that you're going towards. And again, it's all about your language, your framing, and your perspective. Now, what does this have to do with wealth? Well, we're doing this Wealth Going Global journey, which people are loving, by the way, this digital course. And if you're interested, click below to join. I highly, highly recommend it. It's actually been a hell of a lot more powerful than I was expecting. And people are like, wow, like the more I learn, the more I feel lost. And I'm like, exactly. I took you through and I explained to you right up front how you're going to go through a process of you unconsciously are unaware. Like, you don't even know what you don't know. As you go through a course like this, you're going to start to be aware of what you don't know. So you become consciously aware. Ultimately, you want to become, you want to consciously actually learn the stuff. And finally, you want it to be unconscious. Now, I'm not going to try and explain this all on a Wealth Insight. I will share the video. Both pictures I will put up at the end of this video with regards to the way and towards state, and equally the conscious learning journey. But it's a journey we all go on. And whether it's wealth, again, there's no such thing as a get rich quick scheme. It takes decades to succeed at. But what is our language? What is our perspective? And what is our framework? And, as I always say to the people in the mastermind, your outcome is what is going to get you there. So always get clear. What is the outcome that you want? And then work backwards. Okay, so very clear. I'm going to give you the lighthouse approach. I take people through this methodology in the mastermind. Get very clear on your outcome and then work backwards. 95% of people are caught up in their problems and drama. And I too yesterday was caught up in my problems and drama. We all get caught up there. That's why coaching is so valuable, because it immediately gets you back to your outcome, gets your perspective, get your language sorted, get your framing, then you work backwards to get the results. Hope you enjoyed this weekly Wealth Insight. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. See you next week. Cheers. Oh, and by the way, if you enjoyed this, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. For me, these type of perspectives, this mental stuff, is ultimately what's going to help you get the results that you want in your life.